Hello, I'm Archie Luxury and welcome to the program. Today I want to walk around Melbourne. That's right, the famous Collins Street. This is the upmarket CBD of Melbourne. So let's go for a bit of a tour and let's have a look at some of the wonderful sights of Melbourne. So let's see how this gag works here. So look, we're crossing the road and we're about to walk into the Louis Vuitton building, and this is a fabulous old historic building, and it was probably a bank going back a few decades, but Vuitton has bought it, and it looks like it's always been a luxury luggage store, bag store. It just looks so quaint and beautiful. And this is we're just going to go in there and have a look. I've got my hired muscle, so I'll see if I can get a few photos inside the store. And normally Vuitton is very, very angry if you start snapping with your camera. They'll take out one item for you to have a look at, and you can take the odd photo. But I'm going to do something a little bit nasty. I'm going to go in here and snap a few shots. So I'm just going to play dumb, and here we go. We've got the men's section. Lovely new color ranges. They're not the traditional tiger green or burgundy. These are really they're really modern and beautiful. And some Louis Vuitton books, they're always a great thing to get, and some hard case luggage. Let's have a look here. Isn't this beautiful? Archie loves the stack. There's some Elzas and a Biston in monogram. What a lovely color combination that monogram is. And we've also got some men's graphite there. Some lovely pieces. Oh, look at the monogram with the black trim. So this is a new combination, and it's got the silver hardware. What a cool combination that is there. And we'll just have a look here. We're looking in the store here, and it's quite a busy day here, and believe you me, the guards in Vuitton were very suspicious with Archie with his big Nikon around his neck, and they're not quite appreciative of the craft. I don't know why they're so anti, but it's just, hey, it's a game you play. You want to go into the store, you got to play the game. You got to play by the rules. Like AP says, if you want to break the rules, you got to master them first. And I really love the building Vuitton's in. It's beautifully restored. It looks like it's always existed there, but it's just a beautiful building, and that's one thing about Melbourne I love, is these beautiful historic buildings. And as old Archie came out of the store, a fan came out to Archie and said, "Hey, are you Archie Luxury?" And it's certainly a high honour when you get recognised in an upmarket store by a fan. And I gave them an autograph photo, and he had a Panerai on, which is not a bad watch. And there we go. That's the pose shot for the fan. And very nice. So let's keep going on our tour. And I love the way Melbourne, in Collins Street, they got some beautiful trees. It's a tree-lined street here, and it's just so classy. Historic churches, just wonderful things to see in the city of Melbourne. And it's winter time, but it's not like the American winter where it snows and the trees lose all the leaves. They've lost a few leaves, but it's not like the colder climates like UK and places like that. So we're just going along Collins Street, and we'll have a look at some classy shops. Oh, here's the Zegna. That's the very expensive Italian suit maker. Paul Keating used to love Zegna, and Emerga Menga Zegna. That's right. Emerga Dildo Zegna. It's a hard thing to pronounce, and Archie's just massacred the pronunciation of this Italian icon. But they've got a really nice store here in Collins Street. Too expensive for old Archie. I'd prefer to get something tailor-made for the girth. And yeah, that's okay, Archie. 20 years ago, you could have gone in there. But now Archie's just content having his annual calendar and some baubles on his wrist. But it's nice to have a look. There's a beautiful Gucci shop. And I'm not a huge Gucci. I don't think Gucci is true luxury like the brands I really love. I don't think it's luxurious enough. But, they got a great store, and it's certainly worth, it adds to the ambience. And my minder said, "Hey, do you want to go and have a look?" I said, "Nah, it's Gucci. It's not high enough class. But let's have a bit of a wander through here and see." I love how the modern architecture meets the old. The old meets the new. It's all beautifully done. And there's a security guard telling me to fuck off for photographing everything. And some Bulgari. Bulgari's another wonderful luxury brand. Again, Bulgari. I don't know if it's really. So it is a good brand, but Bulgari is a good brand. It's they've got some lovely pieces there, and we'll just keep going along Collins Street. There's 123 Collins Street, and it's just nice to do a bit of window shopping. Have a look what's in the stores there, and here's a Frank Muller dealer. That's right, Frank Muller. That's the guy who had the huge drug thing, who sold the business out to the Russian mafia, I believe. And Frank Muller, he's the master of complications. He used a lot of ETAs in his simpler pieces. That's a bit of a disappointment, but hey, you get that. I mean, Breitling's done that for years and gotten away with it. But some really lovely pieces, and Frank Muller stuff. I understand. It's a special brand. It's I'd prefer a Patek. I mean, when you're paying obscene money, you really want to get the classic icons. That's what I've always said. You get the classic icons, you won't lose money. And that's what it's about. At the end of the day, it's bang per buck. And we want to get the most value for our shopping dollar. We want to make sure we're getting really good value. And Frank Muller, yeah, it's a nice retail experience, but I think the brand is lacking soul. Hermes with the silent H. Thank you, fans, for telling me how to pronounce it. I had no idea it had a fucking silent H. Hermes. And, there's some very, very well-to-do ladies who've bought something. Hello, girls. And, Hermes, I don't know. I mean, it's a great store. I'm not comfortable paying that much for a bag. I don't know. I'm a man of contradictions. In one way, I love extreme luxury. In the other way, Hermes is so dear. I mean, if you're going to spend that much, I'd rather get a used Patek Philippe. That's my own view. But they got some wonderful things on display, and it adds to the culture of Melbourne. That's what it does do. The Hermes store adds to the culture. It's a beautiful store. It's all these luxury French designers. They really go out of the way to make it look amazing, and that's a nice way. I love the little bath legs there in the window display, just so cool. And these ladies are offering, they look like they're having some fun at the Hermes retail experience. They want to capture it on film. Good luck to them, good luck indeed. And heaps of menswear store. Oh, very good. Here's the Dior store. Yeah, I'm not a huge Dior fan. I used to love their shirts. I used to always wear Dior shirts, but not really a big fan of their watches, I must say. But it's nice to window shop here. And here's Grimmer, the Rolex dealer, and this is just opposite from the Rolex service centre in Collins Street. And Grimmer, I don't know what it is, that they really like to have a very Spartan window display, but it's cool. It's okay. I understand. There's Prada. Prada's got a beautiful, very nice the way they do the shop fit out in these places. It must cost a mozza. But Prada's okay. Again, for luggage, I'd prefer Vuitton hard case suitcases any day of the week. And there we go. This is one of the Melbourne hook turns. You got to be in the left-hand lane to turn right because of the trams. And these are a bit of a bitch to master. Thank God I don't have to drive in Melbourne. It'd be an absolute pig to master the hook turn. But there we go. Melbourne's lovely with the greenery. That's the Rolex building. That's that building there is the Rolex Service Centre in Collins Street, Melbourne. That's where you send your pieces in to get serviced, and very expensive, but they do a good job. I must say that. I'm not really into the Steeler experience. I just can't get my head around it. And here's some beautiful Italian metal, a Maserati. It looks like a 3200 GT and a Ferrari in front. I mean, it's classy. Melbourne's a classy city. You certainly you got to love that, just that refinement and class there. Here's an old Melbourne tram. This is a historic one they've restored for punters to jump in and have a look around Melbourne. Very interesting there. And some lovely parks, lovely buildings, and it's just a nice experience. And that little building there's a tramway hut to wait for your tram on a cold winter's day, and just been painted, so it stank of oil paint. And here's I think it's the Hyatt in the background. Beautiful park, nice greenery, and I love these terrace houses. This is one thing I really do love in Melbourne, is these beautiful terrace homes. They cost a mozza, but I just love, look at these quaint houses. They're just so cute, and big money to own one of these. But I mean, if you're that rich, wouldn't life be great? You have a beautiful terrace house in the city. I think that'd be the life, really. If you won the lotto, or if you do want to donate one to Archie, I'd gladly accept that as a donation. No problems. I will do anything for you. And here we have the Hyatt. It's just nicely hidden in a little street there. And Melbourne's a beautiful city. Here's another historic tram, one of the really old green and yellow trams, very beautifully restored. And I think this does the city circle. And I think it's a free service, but I'm not sure there. It's great to see these old girls on the rails still. And this is a Melbourne tram. And let's keep going. We'll continue our tour. We'll just keep going down Collins Street. I just love the feel to the place. Even though it's winter, it's got a nice warmth to it. There's that's a Ferrari and a Maserati. That's the one we saw before. And it's just nice to have a look. That's the Rolex building, and that's a famous headquarters for Rolex service. And I really like the way it looks there. They got it looks like they've got a little square there. They would have had buildings at the side years ago, but they've removed it to give some space. And I think they've done a great job. It's just, Melbourne just feels so nice. I just love it. It's bigger than Brisbane, but it's not as hustle and bustle as Sydney. So I think it's probably one of the nicer cities in Australia. It's a bit bloody cold, but that's one thing I will say. Melbourne weather, Jesus Christ, is it cold? But it's nice to have a look around here. So let's continue our tour, and let's see what interesting sights we can see here. And that's Grimmer, the Rolex shop, and I love that green. It's like an Edwardian green, and they got the usual stash of Rolexes. I mean, I don't know. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all. It's very dime a dozen. It's a very Spartan display. I don't know if it really excites me. It's a bit boring, It's very conservative, very I don't know what you'd say. Just Rolex doesn't excite me as a brand anymore. It used to. I used to love it, but now it's kind of passé. That's my own opinion. And look at this beautiful pearl shop. These are South Sea pearls, gold. We got Tahitians. We got white pearls, all saltwater pearls. These are big money. This is big money. And this is a store in Collins Street. And I just had to take a few snaps. I love some quality pearls, and these are just stunning. Oh, and let's have a look at Cartier. Cartier, one of the top jewelers of the world, and that they had quite a nice window display. It's one thing I will say about the Cartier display. It was quite nice. Cartier's always beautiful, and I went in and had a look. They don't really let you take photos inside, which is it's a bit of a bummer, because I like to bring in-store photos, but the security guards act like jerks. They get funny. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I'm an international celebrity basically, and they just get funny. Beautiful Omega boutique. Omega is really going upwards. And right next to that, we've got a Monards. Monards is a very luxurious dealer. And I snapped a few inside here. And here's the Cartier window display again there. Let's have a look. And they've got some beautiful, I love they really do fit out the windows so well. With that panther theme, it's just fantastic. It's really cute. It's really nice, and it just adds to the whole Cartier paying full retail experience. And you can see why people would pay retail. It's part of the experience. You go in there, they treat you so well. Madam, what would Madam like? You feel like royalty, and you pay through the nose, of course. I mean, there's no discounts in these snooty boutiques. It's really not the place to get a discount or a deal. And here we have, it's a modern Melbourne tram, beautiful tree-lined street, and the beautiful church in the background. Just fantastic. You can just feel the warmth here. Here's Gucci. Having a look at Gucci again. A bit passé for old Archie, but it's a classy brand. Gucci is very strong pulling power. A Mont Blanc, beautiful Mont Blanc stock. I didn't even stop. It's a Mont Blanc, keep going. And, look at this. That's a Bentley Continental GT. I mean, this is real money. And I just love the tree line, a very nice Art Deco stone building on the corner here. Very, very beautiful. And the tram wires everywhere for the trams. It's certainly, Brisbane doesn't have trams, so we've pulled those wires out. So it's a little bit cleaner, but I must say, Melbourne with the trams is an institution, and I love the architecture. Art Deco, it's just gorgeous. And we'll continue having a look here. We've got the Hourglass coming up, and that's a great store in Melbourne. They've got Patek Philippe. They've got some really, really beautiful pieces on display. And let's have a look here. And there's actually a shop for rent next door. Geez, I mean, that would cost an absolute fortune. You'd be paying a fortune for that shop if you wanted to start a retail business in Collins Street. It'd cost a mozza, an absolute mozza. The Hourglass display is quite nice. You've got a Rolex and Patek. That's probably your two big heavy-hitting brands there. They're trying to push the Harry Winston. I don't know. I'm not a huge Harry Winston type fan. I think the brand is over. It's an American thing, Harry Winston's. But the Hourglass, beautiful display there. And I like how they've staggered the display to sort of get you to come into the cave. It's the retail cave. And they very nicely, Hourglass in the city here is where I got to try on a beautiful perpetual calendar Patek Philippe. So I really can't be too nasty about Hourglass. They were pretty good to me. They let me. They even gave me a nice manual there, which is the big Patek encyclopedia. So no, I can't complain. And they had a really nice staggered Patek display. I don't know, less is more in these things. They have one watch on display in the window. I think it looks a bit bare. It must be some nouveau riche thing where less is more. And I'd rather see more watches. I mean, yeah, I get your point. They've still got dogs. Look at these Borman Mercer dog shit there. I mean, oh, fuck. People, here's Antiquorum. This is a very famous Melbourne second-hand dealer. I've found him a bit hard to deal with. He's never really liked me. And I've always dealt with Shawnee. It's my Melbourne contact. But Antiquorum, I don't know. Some people like him. I've just he's never been that friendly when I've tried to do a deal or buy something. So I love Shawnee. Shawnee's my dealer in Melbourne for vintage watches, but he's Andy Corum's in this beautiful historic arcade, and I just love it. It's very, very beautiful, just how it's done, and it's I tell you what, there wouldn't be much discounting in this sort of centre. They'd be paying high rent. I mean, this is sort of a premier Melbourne retail experience. It's not really cheap, but I snuck off to Officeworks to get a 16 gig memory card for the camera. I was running a bit fine, and then there was another dealer who I wanted to have a look at, but they were damn well closing the door, which is a bit of a shame there. But yeah, it's the watch gallery. I was hoping to go and have a look. I like to see second-hand pieces, you know. I kind of, you go for the full retail experience. Yeah, I know. It's cool going for the retail experience, but I like to see the second-hand pieces. You know, I want a deal. You know, there's no skill in paying full retail. I mean, that's for schmucks. You know, I want a second-hand buy, and they'd already closed before I came down there. So next trip, I'm going to have to go a bit earlier and see the watch gallery. I've never dealt with him. I'm not really that familiar with what he's like, but you know, he's you know, I like these smaller ones. They're not in such a snooty shopping centre, so you may be able to get a bit of a deal on it. But it's unfortunately he didn't recognise it was Archie. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have opened the doors and said, "Come on in, old Archie." But that's life, you know. That's just how it goes there, and it's a really clean city. I really enjoyed it. Walking back here, we're going back to the car, so we're heading back now, and you know, there's it's a nice city. It's everyone's rugged up because it's so bloody cold. Melbourne is freezing. You'd die out here. I mean, God, I'd hate to be homeless in Melbourne. You'd fucking freeze to death. And there we go. It's Hourglass, the cascaded introduction there. Yeah, the security guards gave me the finger. Fuck you too. That's all I can say. And it's pretty busy. It's getting dark. This was about 4 o'clock, and the sun's going down, and it's getting a bit chilly. So it's getting cold. But we're heading back now. We're heading back. We've had our good look around, and it's nice just to snap a few shots just to get a bit of streetscape. You know, what does the place look like? And I've got a few little surprises coming up in this video here. There's some wonderful classic cars you'll see in a minute, and there we go. We've got some old Bentleys. So these, what would they have to be? That'd have to be 50s Bentleys. You got 3 of them in a row, 3 Bentleys, and it's quite nice, right out the front of the Bang & Olufsen and Mont Blanc store, and there's a big hotel there, so I think it's a wedding reception or something expensive like that. But there you go. I think I like the two-tone, the white and the black Bentley. That'd probably be my choice. So what would you say? I think early 50s. And here's Rutherford, another beautiful jewellery store, Rutherford, in Collins Street. And they've got a wonderful, wonderful display here. And they've also, let's look, here we go, here's some beautiful pearls. And I'm a sucker. These are Rutherford pearls. And beautiful, beautiful store. I just love... Oh my God! If you had, money to go and spend, I mean, I could spend $300,000 in an afternoon. Get some necklaces, pearls for the wife, an annual perpetual calendar for Archie, a sports watch for the weekend. You could really go all out. And mind you, I don't want to pay fucking retail for things, but it's beautiful to window shop and have a bit of a sticky. I mean, it is good to do that. I do love having a look around, particularly a cultured city like Melbourne. Melbourne is really, really classy, and I just love the look of this Rutherford Pearls store. It just looks so cute. It's sort of Art Deco-ish. It's just fuck. I mean, you could imagine going in there and paying 20 grand for a Strand. You know, it'd be, fuck, retail. What do you say? It's just gorgeous. And there's a nice 500 SL, beautiful car. Love that blue. Sorry, Brian, I prefer it in this blue. Okay, with the traditional alloys. And I got to say, I had a fantastic. You can see the sun is coming down as the afternoon has gone on. It's getting a bit dark, my friends. Yes, it's starting to get dark. And that's how it is in winter in Australia. We don't have snow or shit like that. Well, I think there's a ski place in Canberra, but we don't. Our major cities don't get the snow, and it's just fucking cold. That's all I can say. But I had a fantastic trip to Melbourne. I don't know if I could live there. You know, if you're living in the snooty parts, it wouldn't be too bad. But if you're living in the less affluent areas, I think it'd be fucking depressing. That's what I think it'd be like there. It's sort of, it's okay in the rich parts, but you move out to the shitty suburbs, and I think it'd be quite depressing being in Melbourne with the fucking cold. But well, I had a great trip. I really loved it, and I think it's one of the probably the nicest city in Australia. Sydney's a bit hustle bustle, it's a bit on the pretentious side. Everyone says, "Oh, where are you from?" They're not being friendly. They're trying to gauge how much you earn, because they know what the prices of houses are, and they can work out what sort of money or whether you've inherited. It tells you everything. What suburb do you live in? And I mean, it's a bit fucking pretentious for good old Archie. I mean, I'd rather people judged you on what brand of watch you wear. I mean, that's something that's got some fucking real substance to it. But no, I had a great trip. I love that Vuitton building. I mean, man, that is just a beautiful old building, and it's nice to see it. It's restored. It's something you couldn't fabricate. It's something beautiful to see that the building has been restored. It's got a beautiful tenant like Vuitton in it, and it's classy. And you just can't build these things like you used to. They cost a fortune to do, and it's good to see them being preserved. That's one thing I will say there. And I love how the old blends in with the new. That's what you got to say about Melbourne. It blends in so well, and that's a great thing. It's nice to see the old buildings and the new ones, and that's really, it's quite a cosmopolitan type of city. It's got a lot of class, and I think it's well worth a trip. Melbourne is a fantastic city, and I just love it. I love Melbourne. It's a bit cold in winter, but I mean, if you've got money, it's a nice place to be, and I think I could live there. I'd need a bit more money. That's the only thing. Here's an interesting shop, the Bag Spa, My Bag Spa. That's where they recondition your bags. They clean it and fix little faults. It's I must make a video about that. It's such an interesting concept, My Bag Spa, and they do servicing and cleaning and just bringing it a bit up, and I think it's a fantastic concept. My Bag Spa. What an interesting idea there, and you can see the photos are a bit blurry. The light's failing, but nice jewellers, nice shops in Melbourne. Look at the Grimmer. I mean, just the way their sign is, it's just classy. You know it's not going to be a cheap store. But no, I've had a fantastic trip in Melbourne, and I'd like to thank all the fans who made this trip possible, especially Brian, who was such a wonderful host. I love that guy to death, and I had a fantastic trip in Melbourne, and I certainly will be back. And I think Melbourne is one of the cities to enjoy. It's classy without being pretentious. It's sophisticated without being, over the top. It's just a beautiful city. I'm ARCHIELUXURY, and I hope you've enjoyed this beautiful tour of Melbourne. See you later. See you later.